as we mentioned earlier, Sokol went worldwide. You see Sokol postcards from 1921 in Yugoslavia, from 1934 in Sarajevo, from Szczecin, Poland in 1929, the Sokol in London in 1941. They actually had a sled in exile in London. Here they are in Croatia. There's the Gymnastic Union Sokol of Buenos Aires in 1913, Buenos Aires, Argentina. There's the exiled Sokols from Russia, and you see they were exiled in 1918. And you see the Czech Sokols welcoming the exiled Russian Sokol. And Bulgaria, Sokol in Bulgaria. And there was even Sokol in Paris. They had a slet in Paris in 1990. There were Sokols in Australia. They were everywhere. The Czech American Sokols came in the 1860s, but the Sokols, the Slovak Sokols, came to America with the mass immigration during the time 1880 to 1920. Here are some images. You can see what America was like at the time. Very industrial. The emigres that came from Slovakia were working in heavy industry like steel making, or again, steel making here, coal mining. You know, it was polluted, it was dirty, it was harsh conditions. These are Slovak emigres in Pittsburgh in the early 1900s. Young Slovak children in the city of Homestead, which was famous for steelworks and things. And this is how they lived, in overcrowded housing, very, very harsh conditions. As time passed, the Slovak immigrant communities in America became larger and larger. Emigration was such that roughly 25% of the entire population of Slovakia emigrated to the United States between 1880 and 1920. And many of these people stayed, and they built communities. They built churches, church halls, they built community centers, they built insurance societies, and the Sokols built Sokol halls. And they started, people liked the Sokol sports, and there were many Sokol halls that were built. This is a document from the Sokol Lodge in Braddock, Pennsylvania, which is a suburban steel factory town, and it's dated 1908. And it was housed in a building adjacent to St. Paul's Evangelical Lutheran Church, which was the first Slovak Lutheran church in Western Pennsylvania, built in 1892. And next door to their building was the Braddock Sokol, Slovak Sokol Hall. The Sokols started here in the United States according to the principles of Tirsch in the early days of Sokol. And they, of course, they continued using the terms brother and sister to address each other. And their movement was open to all faiths, all ages, men as well as open to both men and women. In 1905, there was a movement called the Catholic Sokol that actually broke away from what was called Sokol USA, or the National Sokol, because they wanted to have Catholic-only Sokol gyms. And unfortunately, that didn't hold with the values of Tirsch and the creation of Sokol. Sokol, from its very inception, was open to all people of all ages and all religions. And the Catholic Sokols went on their own. They left Sokol USA and created their own Sokol, which is called the Slovak Catholic Sokol. But the Sokols here provided community to the early emigres. They provided sports facilities. They gave people in these impoverished, rough and tumble industrial towns places to come together. They provided sports for their children. I remember a woman telling me that when she was young in the 1930s, her parents made very little money. Industrial laborers made roughly $4 a week working in steel factories prior to World War II. And so she said she was from a family that had 5 children and they didn't have any money. And yet Sokol was very important for her because not only did the kids come together locally to the local Sokol halls to do sports, the Sokols traveled. She got to compete in sports against Sokols in other cities. And she said, I would never have had the opportunity to go to Cleveland or Detroit or this place and meet people. And they made friends. And these young people from other Sokols in other cities would come to their towns and compete. And she said it was something really amazing because it was something that they couldn't do individually as families. Sokol grew. They had slets here in the United States. We still exist. We have lodge halls that offer a variety of things. With the changing demographics and interests in society, some lodges are now doing more charitable activities than sports. Some lodges are doing traditional rhythmic gymnastics. Some are doing weightlifting. Some are having batting cages and batting practices. And some are doing walking, bicycle racings, a whole variety of things. But again, they still exist. And that's the beauty. Tirsch created in 1862 an organization that spread worldwide, that spread far further than he ever could have imagined, that grew to a scale that he could not have ever conceived of in 1862, and has brought values, both physical fitness values as well as a mindset of values on democracy and unity to people worldwide, and it still exists in the United States, and that is the beauty of what Tirsch created in 1862. If you want to join Sokol USA, we have a variety of lodges. You can look at our website, sokolusa.org. If you want to purchase a financial investment, an annuity, or an insurance policy, you purchase it through GBU Life. It gives you, and you tell them you want to be assigned to District 4000 Sokol USA, and you're good to go. And Sokol has this beautiful word that means a variety of things in a variety of contexts. It can mean hello, it can mean congratulations, it can mean goodbye. It's called Nazdar. And with that, I say Nazdar. Thank you for viewing our Sokol USA talk.